Namaskar and a very warm welcome to all the viewers who are watching us live in today's Gyan Darshan or teleconferencing session. I am Dr. Geetika S. Johry, Faculty at School of Vocational Education and Training and Program Coordinator for the Diploma in BPO Finance and Accounting Program, which is DBPOFA. Learners, our today's session is basically the first course under the DBPOFA program, which is Introduction to BPO Finance and Accounting. And today we are going to take up Unit 3 and 4. In our earlier sessions, we have taken Unit 1 and 2. So let's begin today's session by taking up the first course, which is Introduction to Finance and Accounting BPO, wherein we are going to discuss Unit 3 and 4. And before going on to discuss Unit 3 and 4, let us have a brief introduction about what this course is all about, what are the objectives of this course, and what is the unitization of this course. So, learners, we know that India has been a global leader in the business process outsourcing industry, particularly in the areas of customer service, technical support, and back office support services. Now, this is because India has skilled workforce, strong command of people who have the English communication skills language. They are very proficient in that, and competitive cost advantage. So the country has firmly established itself as a top choice for businesses worldwide. Now, in recent years, we have seen that there has been a transformative, role in the outsourcing landscape because of the advancement in technology, and India embracing cutting edge competition, innovation to deliver unparalleled customer experiences and maintain its competitive edge. So India has done very well in this. Now, moving on to the objective of this particular course. Now, this course will introduce the learners to the BPO world, the structure and the processes of the BPO industry. At the same time, it will also familiarize the learners with the different forms of BPO industry. And this course also deals with the different concepts of accounting and finance, which play a vital role in the BPO industry. So let us have a look at the unitization of this course. So we can see that this course has been divided into 7 units. Unit 1 is overview of BPO industry. Unit 2 is organization of the industry. Unit 3 is overview of Indian BPO industry. Unit 4 is overview of finance and accounting outsourcing. Both Unit 3 and 4 we are going to discuss today. Unit 5 is career prospects in BPOs. Unit 6 talks about getting ready for a career in finance and accounting BPO. And the last Unit 7 is information technology and its application in financial accounting process. So let's begin today's session with Unit 3. Overview of Indian BPO industry. So what are the important points which we need to discuss in this particular unit? So here we will talk about the growth of the Indian BPO industry. What is the nature of the work which is being outsourced? What is the geographical spread of the work for the industry and job opportunities in the BPO sector? So talking about the growth of the Indian BPO industry. So here we are going to start with the early phase, which begins in the 90s. And here the IT-enabled services started with companies like American Express, General Electronics, which is GE Capital International Services. Then moving on to the next phase, which is the growth phase, we can see that the period is from 2000 to 2005. Now, this particular phase from 2000 to 2005, it showed tremendous growth in the BPO industry in multiple terms. And why the BPO industry was scaling new heights? Because a number of people were getting employed with revenue going up. There were new entrants who were joining the BPO with captive BPO coming up. There was mushrooming of third-party BPO, and IT played a major foray in this BPO. Now, when we talk about the captive BPO, now this phase saw many global organizations setting up their operations or centers, particularly in India. Basically, they had found the mantra to control cost and be globally cost effective. That is why India was chosen as the best destination for offering any kind of BPO services. Then examples with the kind of companies which came were Aviva, which was, a large European-based insurance company. Then Goldman Sachs, this was another company which came, which was into investment banking, and they were into equity research. Then there was American Express, which were into finance and customer support operations. And then Dell Computers also was there, which were into technical support, and many more such companies came during this time. Now, when we talk about the the phase that this phase also saw the mushrooming of the third party BPO. These BPO, they were taking up outsourcing work from any company, as opposed to the captive BPO who only work for themselves. So this is what is mushrooming growth of third party BPO means. Now, when we talk about the large information technology or the IT majors who jumped into the BPO bandwagon, it was easy for them as they were already, providing the software services and solutions to large international customers, and now they needed business services to be outsourced. So, for example, the kind of companies which took a lead in that was Daksh, which was bought by IPM, and later it was known as Concentrix. Then there was Wipro, sorry, which was bought by Spectrumine, and which later became the Wipro BPO. Now, after discussing the early phase and the growth phase, let us come on to the consolidation phase. Now, in the consolidation phase, we can see that the growth of the business process management or the BPO sector was the largest and substantially very high, because that was the time when many of the entrants came into the BPO industry, and so the compound annual growth rate, what we call as the CAGR, for financial year 2017 was almost 11.5%. So it can be said that BPO in India is led by IT majors, because IT has played a very important role. Now we need to think about the future beyond 2018. What is there beyond 2018? So the global business process outsourcing, that is BPO market, reached almost $246 billion in 2021 with a compound annual growth rate, which is CAGR, of 9.1% from 2022 to 2030, illustrating the power of the growing industry, and it is considered, year by year, it is gaining a lot of strength. So more and more companies are, turning into BPOs to streamline their operations under high cost effective conditions. Now, after having understood the growth of the BPO industry in India, let us understand the nature of the work which is being outsourced in India. So here we can think in two dimensions, the kind of the work which is being outsourced. First is horizontal work, which is common across all industries, whether we are talking about a BPO industry or whether we are talking about any kind of industry. The horizontal work is common across all industries. And what does this horizontal work include? It includes your financial accounting services in the form of procure to pay, order to cash, and record to report. Then, there are HR outsourcing, where we have the payroll and HR functions, and then we have help desk services. Now, the other dimension which we need to understand regarding the nature of the work which is being outsourced is vertical. By vertical, we mean specific to an industry. So when we talk about vertical, which means specific to an industry, there is no scope for, outsourcing within the verticals. So if you're talking about an insurance sector, there can be many job profiles or many processes which can be outsourced. We talk about the healthcare industry, we talk about the publishing and media, we talk about travel services, pharmaceutical research. These are all verticals, and when we talk about verticals, these are all examples of verticals. There is no scope of outsourcing within these verticals. Now let us understand what is the geographical spread of the work for the industry. Now, we have been seeing, we have been talking about that how the market is growing for outsourcing newer areas and applications, and they're coming up. The why and what is the reason behind it? The reason behind it is that we see that the customers are gaining confidence in this kind of a concept, and hence they are wanting to try newer applications, new areas. So some of the new areas of outsourcing, we can see are retail service outsourcing, pharmaceutical research, equity research outsourcing, assurance services, travel resources, etc. Now, learners, after having completed Unit 3, let us move on to Unit 4. Unit 4 is Overview of Finance and Accounting Outsourcing. So here, what are the important things which one needs to understand, and what we will be discussing is significance of outsourcing finance and accounting BPO, that why is it important to outsource F&A BPO. Then what are the different phases in the F&A BPO, what is F&A value chain, and what are the major F&A which are being outsourced. Now, beginning, we need to understand the significance of it. Now, we can see that outsourcing any work to a BPO, it will act as a catalyst for the overall transformation of the company. The potential for greater returns from outsourcing depends upon the business objectives of any company. So, every company has been formed with a particular objective. So, what will be the return of that company will all depend, on the business objectives of that company. So when we are discussing about the objects, we need to understand that the objectives of the companies should be both strategic as well as operational. What do you mean by strategic objectives? Now, strategic objectives could be to reduce the overall operational costs of the company. When we are reducing the operational costs of the company, then definitely you will be spending less money, your expenses will be less, and then your return will be more. So when we talk about the operational cost, it could be to improve the process efficiency by using more qualified manpower to do a particular job. Because see, if we are using a qualified person, definitely we know that, he will be completing that task in, probably 2 to 3 hours time, or maybe he might take maximum a day. But if we keep unskilled workers who are not competent enough, then definitely they will be taking 2 to 3 days, or maybe even more than 2 to 3 days, because they will be understanding what this work is all about, then how it has to be implemented. So a person who already has knowledge of all these work, who are efficient, who are competent, if we take work from them, definitely this will reduce your operational costs. So as we mentioned, that how the returns can be more for a company if we include both strategic and operational costs, or take all these objectives into account. Apart from that, outsourcing F&A, it will help you to save our costs by providing scalable solutions. They can also help you save time, improve operational efficiency. Then outsourcing F&A, it will help you in getting to know or accessing the up-to-date knowledge of what is the advancement which is going on in the market, and the softwares, and even the outsourcing F&A will help you to reduce the risks. So there are many advantages we can see that one can, a company can attain if you are using F&A BPO. Now let us discuss about the phases in F&A BPO. So as we can see that the entire F&A BPO phase has been divided into 7 phases or 7 stages. So it starts with information gathering, which is the first phase. Then is strategy formation. Then next phase is request for proposal. After that comes negotiations or agreements. Then it's the transition or the implementation stage. Then is the ongoing operations. And then it is the exit or the renegotiations. Now, out of these 7 stages, we can say that the transition or the implementation stage is the most difficult phase in F&A outsourcing process. Why? Because this is the testing time, or this is the real work. At this stage, the real work begins, wherein, everything starts from getting gauged, right from the quality of the contract to the relationship between the buyer and the outsourcer. So this is the most difficult stage when we talk about the transition and the implementation stage. Then after that comes, the ongoing operations. Because if a process is ongoing, we know we are going to commit some kind of error, or we are going to get some kind of hurdles or some obstacles. Now, that is a time when we know how to overcome those obstacles. So when the operations are ongoing, then we have to rectify. So this is another very difficult stage when we're talking about the F&A process. And last stage, which is very difficult, is the negotiation and the agreements. Now, learners, we will not be going to discuss the stages or the phases in detail, because all these have been already discussed we are going to discuss in future. Now, let us talk about the finance and accounting value chain. Now, finance and accounting outsourcing value chain is where the company starts to outsource simple jobs such as entry of a scanned data in the ERP software, to moving up the value chain to outsourcing high-ended jobs like procure to pay, order to cash, and record to report. So when we talk about F&A value chain, here we start with a simple job of just simply getting the data entry done, And then moving on to high-ended jobs, which include, as I just mentioned, procure to pay, order to cash, and record to report. Now, what are the benefits? Let us understand what are the benefits of using F&A value chain, whether we are talking about a BPO industry or we are talking about any industry. Why is F&A value chain very important? So, the first is easy information flow. In any company, information flow is the way for the employees to transfer their information. Now, with the help of the value chain, a company gets exposed to better communication, which leads to making impeccable business decisions. So, if there is easy flow of information, you will be able to take decisions more faster and more efficiently, and you will be better exposed to the different kind of communications. The second point or the second benefit we can talk or we can think about is increased profit. The gross revenue and margin of any industry or company sees significant growth because of value chain management, since it mainly focuses on the areas that are left behind and needs improvement. Moving on to the third is strengthening the customer needs, service and support. Now, once you implement impactful value change, it significantly enhances the customer's support and service. Next, we talk about the reduced costs. We've already mentioned earlier that value chain helps in optimizing your returns, hence reducing all kinds of costs with the help of inventory control and waste elimination. So, if the things are lined up properly, it is not that when we are talking about finance and accounting value chain, you're not moving up immediately to the high-ended kind of the job. When I discussed in the beginning or when we were talking here, we said that it starts with a job at the lower end, immediately from the data entry operator, like you're just entering some information in the software. And then slowly and gradually you're moving up the higher the ladder or maybe to the higher level, processes. So this definitely will help you to reduce your cost. It will help you to save time. It will help you to reduce your wasteful and your resources and all. So that is why we say that it will reduce cost. Then the next point is efficient quality control. Quality control is establishing, testing and evaluation standards. Now, with the correct use of value chain, any company can streamline its control process efficiently and effectively by stating the criteria for suppliers that align with quality standards. What is the next point now? Next is effective planning. Planning process can be effectively used across multiple departments through your value chain management. In addition to spending less money, a company also gets the flexibility to wrap up projects quickly, which offers room for more resources. Furthermore, a good value chain management lets others interact, and thus planning becomes more hassle-free process. Then the next benefit which a company can have is maintaining standards. In any company, there is a dire need to standardize all processes linked with manufacturing with the help of value chain. So this becomes possible with the help of value chain. They need standardization to regularize the repetitive procedures and continuously grow business. Employees' productivity and work quality also experience significant growth. Then another benefit, is managing resources. Resource management with the help of value chain management becomes much more efficient due to better process optimization. Then we talk about finances, which is another very important part of any organization. Now, with the use of value chain management or value chain, the payment processes linked with product manufacturing also have improved. It is vital to figure out existing financial hardships and then improve them, parallelly along with your current finances, while simultaneously keeping track of profit margins and revenue generations. Another benefit is high growth in competition. Now, when we are using the value chain management or what we call as value chain is in F&A, it allows you to have an added advantage in competition. After all, we know that every company is working for getting more returns. Every company wants to do better than others. So with VCM, or what we call as value chain management, it becomes a possibility. The primary components that provide a competitive edge are operations, the logistics, and the market. Therefore, this is advantageous and very significant for any company, to improve their productivity. So, to conclude, learners, we can say that implementing a robust value chain management system in finance and accounting could help your industry back countless benefits, which many of which we have mentioned above. So, not only does it help your industry to grow in every aspect, but it also allows you to track your manufacturing process. Now, learners, after having learnt about what is value chain in finance and accounting, the next topic which we need to understand in this particular course is what are the major F&A processes which are being outsourced. So, the first is purchase to pay, or what we call as procure to pay. This is an integrated system that fully automates the goods and services purchasing process for a business. The system earned its name because it handles all aspects of acquisition, from the purchase of goods to the payment of the vendor. Now, the key benefits to purchase to pay are efficiency, cost saving, and increased financial and procurement visibility. The purchase to pay or the procure to pay system begins with requisitioning, proceeds to procurement, and ends with payment. Now, what is requisitioning? Requisitioning is the process of formally requesting a service, item, or a product with a purchase request form. Procurement happens when the goods or services are received, and the system ends when the payment is made. Then the next process which is being outsourced is order to cash, which is also known as O2C or OTC, and it refers to the set of business processes for receiving and processing customer sales orders for goods and services and their payment. These processes are at the heart of all businesses, and unless they are managed efficiently and accurately, organizations would not only face financial problems but also reputational issues. Every department is in a given company is affected either directly or indirectly by order to cash process. Because see, if your orders, if you are handling your orders on time, if you are making the payments on time, then definitely it will have a very good impact on the company. But if your work is not efficient, if your orders to your clients are not given on time, the payments are not made to the vendors on time, this will definitely have a bad effect on the company. Now, another process which is being outsourced by a BPO is the record to report, which is also called as R2R. And this is a process of finance and accounting where the professionals use to collect, process, and present financial data. The record portion involves documenting an organization's financial transactions, and the report component involves creating financial documents including balance sheets, profit and loss statements, and budget reports. So here we have two terminologies, record and report, which have different meanings. Now, the lenders and the stakeholders of organizations use this data to understand and assess their financial, operational, and strategic performance. They can then use these insights to identify different functions of the organization that are meeting or exceeding expectations and areas that need improvement. R2R learners, we can also that they involve steps required for preparing and reporting the organization's accounts within the general ledger, and that is why they're sometimes also called as general ledger process. Now, for each account, the finance and accounting team records the transactions within them during an accounting period. So there are set accounting periods. So within that stipulated accounting period, the team has to prepare the records, and the transactions have to be carried out. The team posts the transactions or journal entries as debits or credits, and their totals must balance to make the organization's debit and credit equal. Then the last process which is being outsourced is financial planning and analysis. Companies require an accurate and complete analysis of their business to plan and execute strategies that help scale new peaks in performance. The range of financial planning analysis solutions normally include planning and performance, base cost reporting, cash flows analysis, manufacturing finance, sales analysis. So to sum up or to wind up, learners, we can say that outsourcing under the F&A processes starts with low value work such as accounts payable, accounts receivable, and general accounting. Moving on to mid value work such as procurement to pay, premium accounting, and to higher value work such as reporting, financial analysis, thus moving up the value chain. So I hope learners, today's session has been useful, where we have discussed Unit 3 and Unit 4 of the first course, which is Introduction to BPO Finance and Accounting. In case you have any queries with regard to any of these units, you can please contact us and you can email to us. Our address is geetika.johry@ignou.ac.in. Thank you, learners. Namaskar.